everyone, and welcome to the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys, live via recording of an earlier broadcast.
The livest you can be, Chaz. Very, very good way to put it all out there.
Well, that's what SNL always says at the bottom, right? Recorded live from an earlier broadcast.
Yes, that indeed is.
And that is what we are here with the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys, brought to you by Middle of Nowhere Gaming. Shout-outs to All Comedy 1450. Hope you're still listening out there. I am your host, Chaz King. And
I.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Adam Leonard.
Yes. Question, though. Have you actually watched Saturday Night Live since you've been in New York?
I actually just tracked down the Tracy Morgan episode.
So you didn't watch it as it aired. You went back and watched it.
Yes, I went back and watched it. I don't have real TV.
So I was going to say, I wonder if you're in New York or on the East Coast in general, it probably doesn't say recorded live from an earlier broadcast, because you're probably watching that earlier broadcast.
You know, that's true. And I bet it's my Croatian cousin that that I get these episodes from, who was saying, like, 3-hour delay. Maybe they're on the West Coast, or who knows? I don't know what Croatia's time difference is.
Yeah, who knows where it came from? It could have gone from anywhere.
It could have.
Anyways, that is our segment about deep mysteries surrounding Saturday Night Live. So, Chaz, what's been going on? It's been a little bit of a while. It's been a little bit of a while since we recorded. We had the holidays occur, and and now we're back. I'm thinking that I'm starting to come to the realization that this may not. We'll try to be weekly, but I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a weekly thing. I think this is perhaps the best way is to kind of let this kind of gestate naturally.
Yeah, we'll still do our best. We'll still do our absolute best to do it every week, but stuff happens like retail work on the holiday, that is Thanksgiving, that whole thing. But it's been a busy week, a fun week, a quick week. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since we recorded, but then I look at the calendar and go, wow, yeah. How about you? How was your holiday week?
It was very good. I basically got to celebrate with the family. My moms came up, and they brought with them a turkey from Popeye's Chicken.
Nice.
And, we basically kind of hung around, ate food, just celebrated. I got a couple of early Christmas gifts that were really awesome. I now have my own car again, which is super awesome.
Woo! Cue applaud track. Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause that is awesome.
Yeah, give me a second here. I think I've got that applause track probably somewhere here.
Adam's new Prius. It's a Prius, right?
Yeah, it's not new, but it's new to me, and it's definitely nice to be able to drive myself places again. Here we go. Once again, this is the worst. This is the worst soundboard ever. None of this actually. What else do we have? Here's wolf. Okay, that's actually a convincing wolf.
That was scary.
How about music? I don't know why it's just called music. We're in Korean knockoff My Little Mermaid.
That sounds like a ringtone my mom would have on her phone. And she wouldn't know where it was coming from. She'd be like, "Where's that sound coming from?" "Mom, it's your phone."
Heartbeat. Taz is about to come out.
Yeah, seriously, Taz is about to come out here.
We just need the. Hold on. We just need the. Stop it. We just need the. Beep, 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 beep.
Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you.
And a drum. Okay, so this is about 50-50. Some of these actually work really well. Some of these are incredibly questionable. I could probably start adding my own, really, which I should do to give our show a little bit of, je ne sais quoi.
Production +1.
So, anyways, I got like the Prius, which is really cool. I also got a ticket to go see the Book of Mormon when it comes in February. That's excited about that. Wanted to see that for a while. Yeah, that's basically been it. I've been working. I've taken a little bit of a break from Fallout 4. I actually picked up Rise of the Tomb Raider, partially because it's getting towards the end of the year, and it's getting pretty close to the point on Middle of Nowhere Game where we're going to start discussing what the games of the year are, and I kind of think it's important to try to play as many titles that are going to probably be in that discussion as possible, and I definitely think Rise of the Tomb Raider is probably something that I should have some kind of background on.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I have contemplated buying it for the last gen stuff, because they actually made a version for the last gen that is, once again, just like Metal Gear Solid 5, wholly playable. So I'm thinking I might do that too.
It's good from what I've played so far. It's it's basically you trapped out in the middle of the Arctic, and it kind of reminded me exactly what the first game was playing this one, because it'd been long enough that I'd kind of forgotten some of my Tomb Raiding experience. And so it is yet another game of about 16 to 20 hours of this Lara Croft getting her ass kicked. Just Lara Croft falling off shit. That's basically what the game is that every time she tries to get on anything, something crumples and she screams and she stumbles down or just barely catches herself.
I remember playing the first one, and I just all the ways that I accidentally killed Lara Croft. Oh, she's gonna get cut in half by a propeller, because why not? She's gonna get impaled by a log that's sticking out of the river, because you didn't press right at the right time. You went left instead, and you impaled your hero. Oh man.
There's you're basically put in a pretty big world that you have to slowly, you can only slowly advance through as you get more sophisticated equipment and stuff by furthering the story. And I'm, probably somewhere getting close to maybe halfway through it, and I'm enjoying what I've played so far.
Good. That's a good sign. Did you ever finish Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
I did.
Review is up.
Review never happened because I wound up not having enough time to beat it before Fallout 4. And so I played Fallout 4, and then eventually I went back and finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It was good. It was actually probably one of the better Assassin's Creed games. I like the dynamic of having two separate characters. As with pretty much all Assassin's Creeds, the story's kind of a little dumb. The ending was a little bit dumb. There's only been one Assassin's Creed ending that I was ever really stoked on, and that was the one where you fought Super Pope.
Assassin's
you remember
Creed 2, yes indeed I do.
You fought didn't he fly and stuff like that?
And he had some I feel like he had a magic staff of some type.
He had something that he was utilizing the app piece of Eden, and I just remember literally thinking no video game ending could possibly top that, because you're getting into a fist fight with Super Pope. That's the single most insane, ingenious thing I'd ever.
Well, and I remember it has my favorite ending line in any video game ever.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Credits roll.
Yeah, and I think I literally posted on Facebook, I'm yep, that summed up my thoughts at the end of this game.
100%. It's super accurate.
But yeah, like I said, I'd definitely recommend Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's a vast improvement over Unity, because Unity had some real problems. Mainly at the startup, so I played Unity a little ways down the line, and I actually had a pretty good experience with it. But yeah, check it out. Check it out, Tomb Raider. Fallout 4 is amazing, but everybody's saying that, so that's not a new thing. I am ready to kind of finish off my plate of stuff for 2016 or 15, because 2016 is going to be kind of a huge year for video games. I'm starting to get staggered by the sheer amount of stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I watched E3. I'm looking at all of the upcoming preview videos, and I'm just yeah, I think next year is the year that I finally bite the bullet and make that investment.
Well, I don't see how you could not, because I mean, like Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out, and I know that's got to be like a day one, like
Oh,
binge
absolutely.
for you.
Work will be taken off for that game. Plain and simple, it will happen.
But yeah, I mean, we're looking at like Uncharted's coming out, the new and possible final Uncharted's coming out next year. Mass Effect's coming out next year. That Zero Horizon, I think it's called, like the techno caveman
the crazy
game.
robo dinosaurs.
That looks amazing. Quantum Break, which could be potentially really, really cool. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky looks absolutely insane. Unfortunately, I feel like they've been hyping it for a little bit too long that it needed to come out this year. But, we'll take it when we can get it.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, big next year in games, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about. But Chaz, shall we talk about what's going on now?
Yeah, sure. But one of the things that is going on right now that we should tell everyone about is our super duper awesome contest. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 3, we're still doing our first ever contest to win. What is it, Adam?
A digital set of codes for the Friday the 13th complete series, and we were supposed to give it away on this episode, but shameful to admit, we didn't get anybody to put in for it.
And where can you put in? Well, you can put in at, let's see, email fnfanboys@gmail.com. Once again, that's fnfanboys@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at fnfanboys. Either send us an email or shoot us a tweet telling us your favorite sidekick or a topic you would like to hear the fanboys discuss. So once again, fnfanboys@gmail.com, or shoot us a tweet on Twitter at fnfanboys. Tell us your favorite video game sidekick, which will be important coming up a little bit later on. Your favorite video game sidekick or a topic that you would like to hear Adam and I discuss on a future episode of Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys right here on Middle of Nowhere Gaming.
And at this point, first one we get wins. So get on it.
It'll be a race. It's a race now. Boom. Off to the races. So, Adam, should we introduce this sidekick thing, or should we talk a little bit first about our first subject before we get into it?
Maybe we could tease it towards the end.
All right, sounds like a plan. So, what would you like to hit first, my friend?
Well, probably the oldest thing to talk about is we did talk quite a bit about the Survivor Series ahead of time, and the Survivor Series happened. Boy, howdy, did it! And generally, most of the population said,
yeah, that's kind of my feelings about the Survivor Series event. It was good. Man, yeah, that's kind of rough. That's a rough review. It was good, ? Yeah, so Roman Reigns won, like we all expected, until shenanigans. And it fits, because that's an Irish guy won the WWE Championship. Sheamus, the Pale Rider.
Cashing in his money in the bank.
Yes, indeedy.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last for long. I think it's really just another hurdle to throw at Reigns before he finally gets his hand on the gold. I really think that's what it is. I would be shocked if Sheamus' title reign lasts more than a pay-per-view or two.
Truth.
I'm calling my early call right now is that at Royal Rumble, Reigns beats Sheamus to get the gold. And I think that Ambrose is going to win the Rumble.
And that would be good, because they gave us a nice little sampling of the match at Survivor Series, but they were playing up the whole, this has been a grueling tournament thing. It made sense. I appreciated the work that was done on Survivor Series. It was all good. It's all solid. I just don't know if I appreciated the writing very much.
Yeah, I just like I said, the one thing I'm glad coming out of the main event is that at least Ambrose didn't get turned heel, because I think he's one of their best personalities right now, and they could probably use that for a face.
Truth, and it just wouldn't make sense for him to turn heel yet. It just doesn't make sense. Not with his character. He's like Roddy Piper. It's gonna take something big for him to go bad guy after the fact. Like, he's a bad guy to start, of course, but then he becomes so beloved by the fans for being a jerk or a crazy person or a little bit of both that it's hard to turn him heel. It would take a big thing to do that.
And probably the only other major thing I think coming out of there for me was how disappointingly easily the Undertaker and Kane squashed
Poor
the Wyatt
Wyatt
family.
They can't keep their heat, man.
Well, it stinks because they're Bray Wyatt is so good, and it's why can't you use him correctly? He could be a top heel in your company, but you're just kind of using him as fodder to get other people over.
Yeah, and I mean, Undertaker doesn't need to get over. I understand they wanted to do something for his 25th anniversary and all that stuff, which is cool. I mean, for a guy to take a gimmick and last 25 years with it, that's pretty special. But it could have been over someone else.
Yeah, it's just a sad misuse, because I think really the Wyatt family's got to be the most legitimately terrifying faction in the WWE. Arguably perhaps the one that they've had in a long time. But I mean, if played correctly, the Wyatt family is somebody who's legitimate. It would be legitimately frightening to be in the ring against.
Yeah, they are supposed to be scary, and I'm not sure they are right now.
They're not. I mean, they could be very easily. They just need to be booked correctly, because they're basically a swamp cult that's pretty much solely populated with giant hairy deliverance extras.
Serious. My goodness, you see those beards? Jealous.
But anyways, yeah, it was all right. We'll see if they can maybe put it together a little bit down the road. One thing that's kind of cool is I did kind of dig I do think that what they're doing. First of all, okay, credit to WWE that they didn't do the stupid thing where all of a sudden Sheamus is corporate.
Yeah.
So at least they're putting together an interesting stable to complement.
Which is a nice change of pace, because, for heaven's sake, we do not need another 35-minute Triple H promo to kick off the show every week.
No. So it's who? It's Rusev, and is Del Rio part of it?
Rusev, Del Rio, Barrett, of course, Sheamus. Oh man, who else was there?
I think it's just them, but it's supposed to be some kind of international flavored stable. Isn't that kind of the staple of it? They're all not Americans.
Yeah, they're the Un-Americans 2.0.
Yeah, I kind of wonder. I couldn't help but wonder where Cesaro would have factored into all that had he been healthy.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah, though I wouldn't really want him to have been part of that faction, because he's quite naturally turned face at this point, and I wouldn't want them to.
But they could have done something cool like, Cesaro, you're not from here. You should join our group. And he'll be like, no, I don't really want to associate with you losers. And then, boom, instant feud. They could do that.
Well, you know what I thought would have been kind of awesome, if it inevitably popped up in my head, was it'd be awesome if they were feuding with some other group of people, and both sides, they're like, hey, you're international too, you should be on our side. And then the other people are like, hey, you're a face, you should be on our side. And it would have been great if he said, no, I'm Swiss, so I'm neutral.
Yes. Win.
You have our email, WWE, if you're listening to this. I would totally be happy to be on your guys' writing staff. I've got tons of ideas like this.
fanboys@gmail.com.
Hashtag make fanboy Adam a writer.
Oh man, you could be like the Kerwin Wright. What was his name? Kerwin White character.
Oh, Chavo's Like
You could
bad
come up with
gimmick.
characters like that or storylines for those characters. They would give you Adam Rose and be like, please make him relevant again.
What can you do with him?
I don't know. Give him a lollipop and make him say the word poop a lot, because that's basically what they've done.
Can I finally do that thing I wanted to do and like make Triple H come out at WrestleMania to the song Sledgehammer dressed as like a bee?
I wanna be. Bang.
But see, I want him to come out to Sledgehammer, but I want it to be Motorhead covering Sledgehammer at like it's thrash metal.
It's Sledgehammer, Sledgehammer. I wanna be.
See, that would be like the single like most. I could die happy if that ever happened, because that's like the single thing maybe I want most in his life is for Triple H to have to come out at WrestleMania to Motorhead covering Sledgehammer. Possibly either dressed as a bee or maybe coming out in a bumper car, something relevant to the lyrics of it.
Open up your fruitcake.
It could be like a really. It could be a really like tricked out like bumper car that's got like a throne, maybe some skulls on it, but it has to be a bumper car. It would be like a Mad Max bumper car is what it would be.
Mediocre.
Anyways, what else has been going on news-wise, Jess?
Big superhero news, which is always a treat for us here at the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys. Both Captain America, Civil War, and Batman vs. Superman got trailers while we were away. Which one should we start talking about? Let's start with Civil War because it came first.
All right. So, initial reactions to
Initial reaction to Civil War is, ooh, cool, more Bucky. But also, I really appreciated how it didn't seem so black and white. Because that was one of the feelings that I got reading the comic. It's a wonderful comic. It's a classic now at this point. But there was a point, like I think it was very close to the end. So up to that point, you could pick a side pretty easy. Like, all right, I'm going with Cap, but I see Iron Man's point. But then Iron Man took like a turn for the worse in like issue 6 or 7 or something like that, where you're just like, ooh, what a jerk. I don't like him. And so you full on side with Captain America. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the movie, but from the trailer, it looked like I can actually choose. It looked like I can see each side's opposing views and choose a team and not have it chosen for me, which was a very nice touch for a trailer that didn't really give us a lot of info.
Yeah, I thought like, you know, and generally speaking, like, and we might talk a little bit more about this a little later on, but like, I don't know if they've got like the same people doing trailers for all of Disney's properties, but it feels like Disney's IPs have become, are like whoever's doing like the trailers for their IPs are like, just kind of like, are just like masters of what they do, because you know, taking like the Civil War trailer and taking like the most recent Star Wars The Force Awakens trailers, not the TV stuff, but you know, the one I'm talking about with like the Forces calling, let it in. Calling to you later. I mean, like, they are so good at just making, like, hitting all the right fucking notes. Just, like, making you so incredibly excited to see whatever it is they've got without giving you all that information about what you're about to see.
Exactly, yeah. I'll admit, like, both trailers had specific moments that kind of gave me, like, you know that, like, when you kind of get emotional and just go, like, you block it, you swallow it a little bit. Like, Force Awakens, I'll admit, I just kind of get teary-eyed. But Civil War, that end with the, I'm sorry, Tony, he's my friend. So was I. It's like, oh my God. And you don't know what the divide is other than, okay, it's Bucky, but something happened there. But it's good. It's good.
Well, and that's like the thing too, is like they are just really, really good at like basically honey picking out like the best lines to put in their trailers, because I mean that's just such a holy shit line that when you hear that you're like, oh man. Especially like the way that like Tony Stark says it, because Tony Stark looks so just kind of sad and heartbroken about the whole situation.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think is really wonderful about this trailer and the Force Awakens trailers and a lot of the Disney trailers, like you mentioned, is that they're almost kind of the perfect length. They're not too long. They're not too short. You get enough, but you don't get full details, which is something I think was sadly, and still is in a lot of cases, kind of forgotten. It was almost like, let's just give them a whole kind of a summary of the movie they're going to go see. Because, I mean, like, you look at, like, the trailer, like trailer 3 for Spectre. It's like 3 minutes long, and it gives you basically all the stuff that's going to happen.
Right.
Terminator Genesis, for crying out loud. They spoil the twist of the movie in the first 30 seconds of the trailer.
And, like, the huge thing, too, is, like, also by giving you, like, important, like, flashes, but, like, not specific details, it's like, really fun as a fan and, like, really drives that anticipation, because then people start obsessing over just, like, minute details. Like, for instance, okay, I guess we're kind of talking both Star Wars and Civil War at the same time, and that's okay at this point. First of all, the part that got me, like the part that, because I choke up too when I see that. It's for whatever reason, specifically once like the Leia theme starts hitting, like with like the Millennium Falcon soaring through the air. I don't know what it is about that, like that recall to that old Star Wars music, but that always gets me
for sure.
Like I said, and specifically that line, "The Force is calling to you, let it in." I don't know what it is about that, but just like it catches my breath every single time I watch it. But like the specific moment, like out of the trailer that I was like really obsessed with, like just because, like I said, they just give you so little stuff, but not in no context. But the part I was like most almost jazzed on was like the scene where it's kind of like, it looks like they're kind of in a swamp, and it's got Kylo Ren and it's got Finn, and it's where Finn like breaks out his lightsaber. But like, what's really fascinating, if you're paying attention, he looks terrified. He does not look like he's ready for a fight. He just looks like he is so scared at that moment, and so that's really interesting because it kind of makes me wonder, like, okay, so what's going on here?
Yeah, and we're gonna get those answers in 15 days.
Mm-hmm. Makes me think that he perhaps, like, kind of what I'm expecting or hope for is that I'm hoping that maybe he's somebody who's just now kind of went on the way of the Force, and he's instantly shoved into a situation like way, way, way above his head at that point.
And that's when you bring in all of the old guns.
Not to mention getting to hear Han Solo say, the light, whatever like the specific line was. It's like, the Sith, the Jedi, the Force is true, all of it.
Especially coming from him, who in the original Star Wars was like, the Force, that's just a bunch of like space malarkey or whatever he says. I can't remember the line, but he's a skeptic, 100% skeptic. And for him to just be full bore, it's real. I've seen it. I'm a believer.
Yeah, very much like they very kind of much seem to make Han Solo out to be as like this guy who's older, wiser, and has really probably seen some shit in his life at this point.
Serious.
But yeah, needless to say, I'm very excited. I was also excited in Civil War that we finally got to see a little bit of the Black Panther. Once again, not too much, but just a taste, just to let us know he's there.
Yeah, and he's pretty important. He's pretty important in the history of Marvel Comics and comics in general, really. So for him to be on the big screen, that's a huge win for geek culture, in my opinion.
And yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be really cool. I can't wait to see more. It'll be interesting to see him in application because he's once again one of those people like whose powers are like a little. He's kind of like Captain America, where it's kind of like how do you portray that exactly? Because he's like strong and fast, but not necessarily like superhuman per se.
Yeah, but he also has some weird kind of twisted lineage of being the king of the dead.
And very wisely, they absolutely had no hint at Spider-Man, which I think if they're smart, they will not show anything of Spider-Man. Like, because everybody knows he's going to be in it. Make people pay to get that ticket to see Spider-Man.
Absolutely. So they're doing it right. They're doing it right on the trailer front over there in the Disney camp. Which brings us to our next trailer. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. And let me fully disclose this. I am a huge supporter of the Man of Steel verse, if you will, for the lack of a better term. I love the Man of Steel movie for what they were trying to do. Of course, you can rip it apart, and I completely get that. But from a Superman mega fan like myself, to see something completely different, a new take on Superman, was really cool. Is it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. But just know that I am 100% a supporter. I think Ben Affleck is going to kick ass in the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman. But Adam, I got to say, this trailer, I think it showed me a little too much.
Yeah, I think that part you'll get no argument out of.
Like, I felt that the trailer was really, really on a roll, and then it showed me their trump card. At least, it felt like a trump card. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was agreeing. Please go on. I'll get to my feelings in a bit.
Spoilers if you haven't seen it, which according to YouTube, there's like nobody left in the world who hasn't seen it. I think it's got like 7 million views at this point. Doomsday, or a Doomsday-esque monster, is created by Lex Luthor, which basically is going to stop B and S from fighting each other, with Wonder Woman caught in the middle. Now, granted, I think if you've read a comic book throughout the years, especially one that has two heroes fighting on the cover, chances are by the end of that issue, they will have fought each other, realized that fighting each other is stupid because there's something bigger to fight, and then they'll be either friends or tentative allies by the end of that issue or the end of that story arc. It's kind of a known and loved formula for the superhero throwing down with the other superhero story.
Right.
So I'm not mad that that's how it seems to happen. I'm just kind of mad I now know how that's going to happen.
See, I don't think that should have been in the trailer. I think that if you're going to create a movie called Batman versus Superman, even though we all know that really it's going to be, okay, maybe like an hour and a half of Batman versus Superman, and then the rest of the movie where they ally against a greater common enemy, we know that's going to be there, but that had no place in the trailer.
No, not at all. And there's actually, it's so funny, a good friend of ours, Nick Davis, actually put up, a fan on YouTube decided the same thing, decided they showed too much, so they made an edit down of the trailer. And it's beautiful. It's 100%. It gives you that mystery that, like, you hear the roar, but you don't know what that roar is. You see the Lex scenes, you see the Bruce and Clark scene, but you don't see a lot of other stuff. And I'm like, see, that's what it should have been. And I wonder, I'll play devil's advocate here. I wonder if it was execs getting scared about leaks, because there were a ton of leaks for this movie. Lots of set pictures, lots of, I found the script online, lots of all this stuff. So I'm thinking maybe they got kind of intimidated by that happening and decided, all right, let's just get it out there. Let's just play our hand. Because everybody seems to know it anyway. They can see through our cards. Let's just put them on the table. So I get that. But at the same time, it's one of those trailers that shows me too much. I kind of wish they stuck with a trailer like even the second one. I thought the second one showed us enough, but didn't show us too much. Like, it's the same thing with, like, the Spectre trailers. You watch Spectre trailer 3, it's like 3 minutes, gives you the whole movie plot. But the first Spectre teaser was fantastic. You see a guy walking through a mountain, you hear the little dun, 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 and then you hear a couple lines of dialogue, dun, 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 title, movie coming out here. That's all you need. That's all you need.
See, and I won't vouch for them as much. I think they put Doomsday in there because they're desperately trying to win over the skeptics, I think. And so they thought, they're like, see, guys? Doomsday, this is cool, right? Right? And there's various problems. First of all, I don't know, have you seen an actual screen grab of Doomsday?
There is a wonderful meme I saw where someone photoshopped a bandana over his eyes.
Yeah,
and it says, "Tell me, do you cowabunga?" And
yeah, like literally, like me and my buddy were discussing it at work. His first reaction is like he looked like one of Bay's Ninja Turtles. My first reaction after I saw the picture, I'm like, he looks like one of the Lord of the Rings cave trolls that they got hit with a shrapnel grenade.
I mean, like, I described it to my friend before seeing any of these memes at work. I was like, it kind of looks like if Michael Shannon had a baby with the Goblin King from the Hobbit movie. Because that's kind of what it looks like. I mean, and I'm an apologist for this stuff. I mean, I love the culture. And DC Comics is my jam. If you want to talk number one obsession, it's a tie between basically Mass Effect and DC Comics. But man, that design, like, you couldn't just go with the book design. Everything else is so close to the damn comics. You had to tweak it, like, give him a Mark Ruffalo face for Michael Shannon. I mean, like, what's going on?
And here's the other piece also of reaction I've seen that I kind of disagree with is, of course, I heard a bunch of fans get all like snitty and go like, why do you have to put him in this film? Why can't he have his own movie that should be used for Death of Superman? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, 1990s comic book fans, I'm really sorry and I love you. Doomsday is not a good character.
No.
He is not. He basically became, because they're like in the middle of the 90s, they're like, you know what would sell a lot of comics? If we killed Superman. How do we kill Superman? I know, let's put some like big rock guy and have the rock guy punch Superman to death. I mean, that's basically what happened.
If you ever watch the documentary, The Secret Origin of DC Comics, they talk about the origin of that story, and it is pretty darn close to what Adam said. Basically, every year, the Superman writers would get together and decide what are they going to do for that year. Well, this year was supposed to be the wedding of Lois and Clark, but they were going to do that on the TV show, The New Adventures of Lois and Clark, the Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher Superman show. So they decided, oh, well, we can't do it now. We have to match up with the show. And jokingly, one writer would always say, let's just kill him. And that year they decided, yes, let's just kill him. We've got nothing else. It's not a good storyline, guys.
I mean, you could have done a good Death of Superman storyline, but this one just to me it just kind of felt forced. And he's not Doomsday's not a particularly great villain, nor do I think he's a villain who can or should anchor an entire Superman film.
No way. So, like, on the positive front, Doomsday being used as a catalyst for the formation of the DC Trinity, cool. Because you know what? 90s comics fans, you get to see him, even though he looks like a Ninja Turtle. You get to see him fight people, and then we never have to see his ugly mug again. Which is good. Good choice.
So here's the thing, though, Chaz, and going back to it after watching it, I still got to tell you something. I'm still not convinced. I still am worried and skeptical that DC is desperate to try to catch up to Marvel as quickly as possible. And so they're trying to do the same thing Marvel did, but without taking like the time, the care, and the patience to do it the right way. Now, to be fair, I'm not necessarily insulting I just think this is a little bit too overcrowded. They're trying to force too much in at once so that they're right there where Marvel is. Now, to be fair, I'm not necessarily criticizing individual components of the movie because you know I like Henry Cavill as Superman. Like I said, you said it, Man of Steel was flawed, but I dug what they were going for there. I was impressed with Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne in the trailer, like in that opening scene between Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. That was awesome. I don't know what the hell Jesse Eisenberg is doing, but
yes.
I will go with it.
Exactly.
I got a lot of love for him, so I'm willing to kind of just assume this is going to work out. So it feels like they've shopped for all the right ingredients. Like it's like they're making a meal, right? Like the Marvel universe is like this beautifully cooked Thanksgiving meal. You know, very topical since we're coming back from Thanksgiving. And it feels like DC wants to make a meal like Marvel's. And so they've done a good job of going out and shopping for all the right ingredients. We've got like a good Batman. We've got a good Superman. We're doing a pretty good job of putting the pieces together. But it feels like Marvel took like 5 days to make their perfect Thanksgiving meal. And DC's hoping to do theirs in about 2 hours.
Their party starts at 5. They got home at 2:30.
So that's my concern. Is I feel like they're not making bad choices as far as like stuff like art, like casting choices and stuff goes. But I feel like I'm still nervous that this is going to be overcrowded and they're too desperate to catch their franchises up with Marvel, which I just don't know if something they're going to be able to do.
I cannot disagree. I've been a big proponent for DC to do kind of what they're doing, maybe not as quick as they're doing it, but I always thought it would be a neat idea because it works so well, and everyone's coming off the high of the Nolan Batmans, and the Marvel universe is working out so well, to start with the Justice League. Show everybody, do the big event movie first, and then branch off and tell the smaller stories that are needed. Because let's be honest, Superman doesn't need an origin story. We've had it before. Everyone basically knows. Okay, he's an alien sent here from Earth, raised by farmers. All right, we got it. Batman, for fuck's sake, I know that we are going to get an origin flashback, but we do not need one. There's been a Tim Burton version, a Joel Schumacher version, an animated series version, countless animated series versions. There's been the Christopher Nolan version, and now we're going to get the Zack Snyder version. Why? Because it has to be there for some reason. People just can't let it go. We know how Batman becomes Batman.
I almost want to say, and I could be wrong with this. Maybe I'm just trying to be comedic at this point. But I want to say, like, it's entirely possible in each of the Arkham games that they find a point to make you go relive your parents' death at least once per game.
Yep. Yeah, they do.
Usually probably because Scarecrow like dopes you or something, and all of a sudden you're back at the crime alley because guess what? We have to remind you Batman's parents are dead. Don't you get it? That's why he's doing this. Did you know dead.
Did you know his parents were dead? Well, here's a reminder. Yeah, in Arkham Asylum, you're drugged, you're walking through the library, and it turns into the alley, and then you collapse at your dead parents' bodies, and then you realize that you're doped up and you snap out of it. In Arkham City, you find Crime Alley, and you get to actually this part was always amazing to me in Arkham City, and I'm sure people have done it out there who are listening, but if you haven't done it, track down Crime Alley about halfway through the campaign, and there you lay down a rose. There's a rose there that's laid down. You can pick it up. It's a little cutscene, but then it gives you an option. Press X to mourn.
That's amazing.
Or actually it says pay your respects. It doesn't say mourn, but pay your respects. And it is one of those things you have to, like, you press X, and if you don't press anything else, it doesn't end. The camera just goes in a circle around you. So you can literally pay your respects for hours. It's brutal. It's brutal. Yeah.
And one more thing that I do it to kind of chastise the trailer on is that I did kind of feel like the whole reveal of Wonder Woman and then like Superman saying, I thought she was with you, and then Batman saying, I thought she was you. It kind of felt like a ham-fisted attempt at showing that they could do Marvel's humor.
Yeah, it could have done without lines.
It's like
it was cool before they started talking.
Because it kind of felt like there's something like Tony Stark would say. It's like Batman and Superman don't really frickin' banter. That's not them nor the nature of their relationship.
Yeah, but she looked awesome though. I think Gal Gadot looks great.
I gotta admit, I'm actually probably more excited for Suicide Squad. And the thing is, like, Suicide Squad, I can't definitively say whether I think it's going to be great or if I think it's going to be a train wreck. But, oh my God, I am fascinated either way to find out which one it's going to be.
Did you see Joker with his sweatpants and his pimp coat?
You
should check it out. I think it's Entertainment Weekly, but it could be a different magazine. But he's dressed up like freaking Yeah, yeah.
Keep on talking. I'm looking for it right now.
He's dressed up like oh man, what's that? Oh, Dolomite. He's freaking dressed up like Dolomite.
Yeah. Oh dear Lord, that's not that one. But I found another one from Empire magazines where he's got like, God, I don't know what kind of I describe it. It's like a purple pleather trench coat,
There's
no
the one.
shirt.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, there it is. Yep. 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 Oh wow.
Like I said, I think the jokes are hilarious. I just got to see it. Like I don't know. It may suck, and this may be like the worst portrayal of the Joker ever, or it could be like insanely brilliant. But I'm just like I'm riveted either way to see what the hell is
Yeah.
going on.
Again, like he looks like the album cover of the new Twisted album, or the Insane Clown Posse. He should be holding a bottle of Faygo. Oh my goodness. Look at that guy.
So, like, for better or worse, Suicide Squad just looks very interesting.
Yes,
to me.
yes. I'm excited for both, just because. Why wouldn't I be at this point? It's just kind of to me. It's one of those. A lot of people are like, this is the end of the superhero movie, because everyone was like, meh about Civil War. Why? Because people are stupid, and the internet's for complaining, not for having fun. Batman vs Superman, they're like, I was so excited until this happened. It's like, really? Because I mean, at this point, it's kind of just an embarrassment of riches for nerd culture. It's like, all right, we've done the thing that no one ever thought we would be able to do, and that's taken over the world with the Avengers franchise. All right, awesome. And now, because of this success, why the hell not? We're going to see Batman and Superman on the same screen at the same time. And oh yeah, Wonder Woman's finally getting her own freaking movie. Even if this one coming out sucks, that movie is still happening because they're filming it right now. So they can't just back out of it, halfway through, because it's going to be done by the time that this movie comes out. So it's like, let's just go for the ride. Let's just go for the ride. Doctor Strange is coming out. Black Panther's got a movie. Captain freaking Marvel's going to have a movie. There's a rumor of Cyborg getting his own movie. What? When? How? Cool? And why the hell not? Let's just do it. Let's just go for it. Enjoy it while it happens. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great. And worst case scenario, read a book.
Okay, moving forward. So we got some reviews to get to, and we got about 15 minutes left. So just real quick, I just want to hear your take on this. I was talking with a buddy about this at work, and I've heard a lot of back and forth from people about this. One more thing on the Star Wars Force Awakens. Everybody's freaking out because Luke Skywalker's not in the trailers. Though I'm pretty sure he is in like the first one, because I'm pretty sure that robotic hand was his, but I don't know. What do I know? A lot of people are like arguing back and forth. Some people think, a lot of people are trying to go like, oh, he's going to be a bad guy. It's going to turn out that he's gone to the dark side. So if you had your choice, would you want like a bad Luke Skywalker? Is that something that's like interesting or fulfilling or whatever to you?
I wouldn't know how to handle that. And I think it's one of those things. It's like, it's almost like people can say, oh yeah, it would be the biggest twist, and oh man, it'd be so good. But at the same time, how do you handle that? That's your hero.
Mm-hmm.
That's your hero for years and years and years, and all of a sudden he's the bad guy? No, I would cry, and I think I would cry for the wrong reasons. No, I don't want Luke Skywalker to be the bad guy.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's like, well, you could do that, and I guess that would be considered edgy, but I don't think that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Because you're right. He's like it would be like any of those characters. Like Han Solo turns out that he's a bounty hunter now. We don't want that. We want our heroes back.
Exactly. And I'm kind of hoping he's the kind of Obi-Wan figure. He decided to become like a hermit or do something like in the dark, like teaching young Padawans the ways of the Force, but like not making it a public thing for anyone to know about. It's like a secret rebuilding of the Jedi Temple or something. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And that crazy theory that he is Kylo Ren. No. What's his name is Kylo Ren? The guy with that's right. The guy with the big schnoz. That's
Yeah, he is definitely
Yeah.
cast. So, anyway, so I'm hoping it's not the case. I mean, you might be able to win me over if you had like a really good reason he went to the dark side, and as long as it was kind of like a redemptive thing where like he winds up, being redeemed in the end. But I'd much rather have wizened old Jedi Luke.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I want him to have a beard. I want him to look a little older because, well, that's inevitable. But I want him to look like he's seen some shit and just, yeah, be that guy that we all want him to be, that we all know he can be, the thing that Anakin couldn't be because he cared too much.
All right, and finally, I think this is probably going to be our last thing on the roster tonight, but let's go ahead and we watched a Netflix show while we were on
We
hiatus,
did
didn't we?
indeed, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica. Ah. Ew.
Yeah, it feels like everybody's basically talking about Jessica Jones these
Jessica
days.
freaking Jones. And everybody is all mad because David Tennant is not Doctor Who and he's being a creeper. And I can't watch Doctor Who anymore because he's a creeper now.
Quick pause. We should probably state real quick. This is kind of spoiler-ific. So if you haven't seen Jessica Jones, if you're living in like a fallout shelter or something, you may just want to stop the episode here because we're gonna get into it.
How dare you not watch 13 hours of TV in less than 2 weeks?
I watched the entire thing on one day.
Nice. That is impressive, sir.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much just watched, probably about 8 episodes with my buddy Quincy, who you know. And then he went home, and then I proceeded to watch the other 5 or so.
Let me say something to that, and for my Marvel Comics fans out there, Sweet Christmas. Yeah, that's Luke Cage.
I love that they actually managed to. They actually put that in there. That and actually managed to pull it off.
Seriously, it was one of those I had to tell a buddy at work, like, keep an ear out for it because they sneak it in. It's at a part where it makes sense, but it's like just listen for it because they got it in there, man.
So how long did it take you to watch all of it?
We started on the Friday, and then I think we finished on the Wednesday following. Yeah, so not too long, but we got to savor it a little bit.
So what did you think?
Fantastic. Once again, these Netflix shows, man, comic books are so ready-made for television. Everybody obsesses about movies. Like, that's one of the reasons why if Batman vs. Superman sucks, I'll be fine with it because I've got The Flash on every Tuesday night, and I've got a show that's going to have Hawkman, Hawkgirl, the Atom, White Canary, and freaking Rip Hunter, Time Master, in it on TV. So it's like, man, the TV format is so great for these characters. Daredevil was amazing, and Jessica Jones follows that suit, just keeps the form.
Yeah, I think it was absolutely fantastic. I like how it deals with superpowers. Well, first of all, I like the fact that it deals with powers a lot more normally. It's kind of interesting just to see these people who aren't necessarily being superheroes with these powers. Yeah,
it's a different take. It's like, all right, they got powers, but they don't have to put on a costume. They can live their lives and do the New York struggle that I so relate with right now.
I like the fact that also like they also avoided like the whole like origin crime. Like it was great that basically they decided like, okay, you probably don't need to know everything to get started. We'll fill you in as you go. And also they don't even give you the origins. I like the fact that it's just basically like, how'd you get your powers? Accident. How did you get yours? Experiment. And that's all you need to know, because what else, what more do we really need to know?
Take note, DC. I don't need another Batman dead parent scene. All right, we'll get back to normal.
Anyways, Kristen Ritter.
Absolutely. And it's really fun to see her do a drama, because My exposure to her is Veronica Mars, where she played the ditzy, stupid friend. And then, of course, the Bee in Apartment 23.
You're missing an important one though, but she has done some drama because you're missing one that you are very familiar with.
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Yep, yeah, it's a pretty big little part of season 2 of Breaking Bad.
She chokes to death on her own vomit.
Spoiler.
Well, we gave him a warning before we started, Jen.
Yes, but she's fantastic. Like I said, she makes, she plays a very complex, very human superhero who's got like lots and lots of flaws.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the cool things about the TV shows, or the Netflix series, I guess, because they're not necessarily on TV, is that you really get to see all of the character arcs, all of the character faults, all of the character growth. And you actually get growth from beginning to end, and it's slow. So it sits there, and it gets to gestate and change and mold. Whereas in a movie, all right, they got to get from point A to point B in 2 hours. All right, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, I guess that justifies why they changed their minds.
And the big thing I love, this is kind of bring to my kind of MVP, I guess. The big thing I love about these, particularly these Marvel television shows, is these shows are finally, with 13 episodes, or I guess I haven't really watched much of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I've heard good things about where it kind of went. But the fact is, since they have more episodes to tell a story, finally the villains are getting a chance to get kind of grown out and becoming more, finally these TV villains are giving us Marvel villains that are more than just, big lumbering juice heads who wanted to, take over the world just because.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because David Tennant as Kilgrave is fantastic.
Oh yeah, MVP by far, for sure. Highlight of the series.
He is just such a fascinating monster, and he's also really kind of scary because, it's kind of been brought up in some of the reviews and the critiques I read of it, is he's really fascinating and kind of terrifying because he could really do almost anything he wanted. His power has limitless potential to what he could potentially decide to do, but yet he doesn't do anything grandiose. He doesn't take over the U.S. or, the U.S. or mind control the Avengers. All he just uses his powers to do horrific petty things to just bystanders, and just a singular obsession with Jessica Jones.
He's a little hedonistic in that way, and then of course when he meets Jessica, he becomes obsessive and abusive, which is a really tough subject to tackle in this day and age. Basically it's abuse of your loved ones. And they're able to cover that under the guise of a superhero show and really touch on it in a pretty profound way with Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really. I mean, they really do call it what it is. I mean, there is there is basically a specific line where she basically says, "No, you raped me. That's what happened." And so, I mean, it doesn't try to mask what they're talking about, superpowers and stuff. It's really, dealing with real world, real deep stuff.
Yeah. And then David Tennant basically played the internet and was like, well, I mean, I wouldn't. It's shut up, just shut your mouth. Yeah. Easy to hate. David Tennant's character, Kilgrave. But then they give you some backstory where you're like, oh, maybe he's not that easy to hate. But then no. He's just a terrible, terrible person.
Well, and I also think it's fascinating, since we're kind of going, I guess, full spoiler, I think it's kind of fascinating because in most, I feel also there's some, I think Jessica Jones makes some really tragic mistakes. There are a couple, well, not just her, but other characters. There's a couple of points in the series where you have to kind of wonder how things would have played out had they done something differently. Particularly the two that stuck out to me is after Jessica had gone back to her old house and was kind of living with Kilgrave. And, we get the episode for a while where she seems to be trying to reform him and seeming to have some success with it. Then the fact that she chooses right after that to betray him and drug him to go lock him up. I thought that was a pretty huge moment because you can't help but wonder what would have happened if she didn't do that.
Yeah.
If some of the later problems were brought on by the fact that she decided to try to drug him and knock him out, rather than to continue on the course she decided to be on. Likewise, very similarly later on, when finally Kilgrave's parents come forward, when they finally came to him and embraced him, I can't help but wonder how things would have turned out differently had his mom not proceeded to then stab him. There's just a couple of moments where it felt like maybe things could turn the corner a little bit and get better, and every time that happens, it feels like somebody then does something really rash right afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to the character of Kilgrave, you have to wonder if that's because of his past transgressions and no one trusts him, kind of thing.
Well, and I think that that character needs to pay no matter what. That's not Kilgrave's not a redeemable character. It's not a guy that eventually okay, he's a pretty decent guy after all. I mean, the stuff he's done, he needs to pay for. You don't just magically get a pass on that.
Yeah, not at all. And I like that. Well, he didn't. Nope. Not at all. Not at all. And good on oh man, what's the actor's name who plays Malcolm? Good on Power Rangers RPM, man. They're doing. He was a Power Ranger. He was the red Power Ranger in Power Rangers RPM, the drug addict neighbor. Yeah, good for him. And the Yellow Ranger in RPM is Liv Moore on iZombie, the lead in iZombie. So Power Rangers RPM, man, they're making it out all right. Good for them.
Actually, I kind of think, for me, while it's easy to kind of gush, and I still think Tennant was just amazing and awesome. Malcolm for me was kind of like my secret MVP because I thought he had one of the most fascinating character growths. Because at first he's just this kind of archetypal junkie, and so that's all you really think of him as. And then then we kind of find this whole tragic backstory with what was really going on, and he definitely gets a fairly strong redemptive arc over the series.
Yeah, he really does get in gear. For my Power Rangers fans out there. Yeah.
And also kudos for them giving us literally a perfect
Oh my
Luke Cage.
God, that guy was amazing. Oh. Talk about I am so excited for that show now. Luke Cage, Hero for Hire? Yes, give that to me. Give that to me now.
Yep, he played the part perfectly.
And I was so relieved to hear Joe Quesada, one of the higher-ups at Marvel, say that, no, we're doing Iron Fist as a series. It's not going to be a movie. It's a series. We're doing Iron Fist, and there might be room for Punisher, but we don't know yet. So Iron Fist is totally happening, so we're going to get Luke Cage and Iron Fist on the TV screen. Again, embarrassment of riches. What a time to be a nerd. Oh, my goodness.
I can't wait till we get to Defenders. Defenders is going to be so brilliant and crazy and amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All those people on the same screen, and what a great cast of actors, too. Oh, it's going to be Avengers all over again, that same kind of magic, only it's going to be a full TV series this time.
So, how'd you think? So, I thought it was probably okay, in my opinion. They don't want to go too full bore yet, because they want to kind of slow burn till that crossover. So while some people were complaining, I'm probably okay with the fact that Daredevil was not in Jessica Jones in any way, shape, or form. Because I know that Quincy and I were watching it with it, kept going well, it just seems that it would have been really easy because there's all this law stuff going on. Why can't they have Matt Murdock there?
Well, because then you won't have Trinity from The Matrix doing her really shady lawyery stuff.
Well, and I also think we don't need it yet. We're going to get that. Just hold your horses. I felt like that was a pretty smart choice. Instead, to give us Night Nurse or whatever her name is.
Yeah, Claire. Yes.
So they did manage it right towards the end to tie it together with Daredevil, but just not in the most obvious way.
And he was mentioned. So it's in the same universe. He was mentioned I have a friend who could help you, and she says, no, right. I don't want anyone, especially someone with powers, near this guy. So they got him in there. But, yeah, he doesn't have to be there. We're going to get, 10 or 13 episodes of Defenders. So we're going to see it a lot.
And I guess, it sounds from what I read, I think Claire is going to be a series player on Luke Cage.
I think so, yeah. I mean, I believe her origin is from the Luke Cage comic. I believe that's where the Night Nurse comes from. So that would make a whole lot of sense. if she makes the appearance in the show I'm reading and trying to talk at the same time. Let's see, when did she first appear as Linda Carter? Oh, well, she's not Claire in the comics, but it's that same character. No, Night Nurse #1. And supporting character of Doctor Strange, the New Avengers, and Daredevil. Oh, well, I guess I might have been wrong.
All right, so we're over an hour at this point, so let's start piloting towards the ground. But we've got a couple more things. Just real quick, you read the first issue of The Dark Knight 3. I know that there's a lot of controversy around it. As quick as possible, give us your 5
Dark
seconds.
Knight 3, The Master Race, Book 1 of 8. This one of the things that I think is Frank Miller's detriment is that he, when he was doing Daredevil, when he was doing the original Dark Knight Returns, he had a filter. He had editors he was working with, and through them, all these great ideas would make it through the page. Dark Knight Strikes Again, they kind of just let him go crazy, and then, of course, his most recent work, which we won't even name. If you need to find it out, you can search on the internet. He was just doing it by himself. He's working with Brian Azzarello, who is an acclaimed comic books writer. He just did an amazing run on Wonder Woman. He's written Batman many, many, many times in the past, and he's great with noir. So Frank Miller is the main writer, with Brian Azzarello working on fine-tuning scripts and working with an editorial team. So I'm going to say it right away. It's not as batshit insane as you think it would be so far. Granted, this is only the first issue of 8, so it is really just kind of a first serve. It's like the opening pitch. You don't know exactly where it's going to go, but the craftsmanship is impeccable. Andy Kubert's art on the inside is great. It's very reminiscent of Dark Knight Returns, not so much Dark Knight Strikes Again, but Dark Knight Returns. And those who have read those books understand exactly what I'm saying. But DK3, The Master Race, issue #1, it's good. It's good, surprisingly good so far. And I will keep you up to date. If it gets crazy, crazy, crazy in issue 2, oh, don't worry. I will let you know. I'll keep you updated each and every month as this book comes out.
And real quick, also to throw out a recommendation, I actually went last weekend and saw Creed. Not the band. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Creed is a movie about Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed, for those of you who don't know, is the antagonist from the first 2 Rocky films. And so it's basically about his son basically wanting to become a boxer, moving to Philadelphia to be trained by the Italian stallion Rocky. Mad Max has held sway as my favorite film of the year. This is the first movie that gave me pause. I don't know if it's better than Mad Max in my opinion, but this movie was fantastic.
Wow. All right. I know what movie I'm going to go see tomorrow.
I would highly, highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the Rocky series. This movie is good. It's probably second because there are 2 different types of Rocky movies. There are good Rocky movies, i.e., for me, Rocky 1 and Rocky Balboa. And then there are entertaining Rocky movies, i.e., Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. This is probably second only to Rocky 1, in my opinion. And may very well be Sylvester Stallone's best performance as Rocky. And Michael B. Jordan's fantastic. I mean, he's one of the best, the most talented young actors working today, and he kills it as Adonis Creed.
And I am really, really happy for him that this movie came out after Fan 4 Stick. Yeah, absolutely. I'm super stoked to see this movie now.
You should be. Like I said, I was, it was thrilling. It was uplifting. It definitely, brought tears to my eyes at points.
And I also loved how Rocky 5 was never mentioned in your description of the Rocky movies.
Do you know Dirty Secret? I've never seen Rocky 5.
That's okay. You're missing nothing. It is by far the worst of the bunch.
But yeah, so it's really good. Like I said, do yourself a favor, go see it. I think it manages to fall in the myth of the Rocky movies, but also kind of carves its own path. And yeah, So, big news coming up as we kind of wind up here. Starting on our next episode, we are going to have a little tournament of sorts. We're going to be doing the best video game sidekicks of all time. We're going to create a little bracket for everybody. Each week, Chaz and I will be arguing one match. We'll let you guys vote on it, and then eventually we're going to boil it down to the greatest video game sidekick of all time. We've got some of our picks in, but we'd love to have your guys' picks too. Once again, you could win some codes for Friday the 13th. Go ahead and either email us at fnfanboys@gmail.com or tweet us at fnfanboys. Tell us who your favorite video game sidekick is of all time, and it very well may wind up in the tournament.
And if you're the first one to give us your favorite sidekick, your favorite video game sidekick from fnfanboys@gmail.com or tweet us at fnfanboys on Twitter, you can win the digital codes for the entire Friday the 13th movie collection. Who doesn't want that in their lives? Just be the first one to email us or send us a tweet with your favorite video game sidekick, and those will be yours. Here with the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys. Woo! Anything else to add, Adam?
Nope. Just as usual, we want to give props to Middle of Nowhere Gaming, who is the sugar daddy to our Street Walking podcast. You can go to our website, which is middleofnowheregaming.com. On Twitter, it's mong.com. YouTube, it's the Mong Network or Middle of Nowhere Gaming Plays. They're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. We're on Facebook. Go ahead and give the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys page a like. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to see your love and support. You could also, once again, email us at fnfanboys@gmail.com. You could Twitter us at fnfanboys. And take us out, Chaz.
Sounds like a plan. That about covers it for this week. Hopefully we'll see you next week, but not necessarily next week. But we will be coming out on a regular basis. We've got a tournament coming. We've got a contest going. Man, things are happening here with the Friendly Neighborhood Fanboys. For Adam Leonard, I am Chaz King, and we will catch you on the flip side. Or, well, the next click.